call the April board meeting, Huntsville Housing Authority, to order. And let's see, we got two different things going here, no reading glasses, so I'm in the car. I think I can get by without them. So we're called to order, and at this time, let the record show that all commissioners are present, with the exception of Commissioner Crutcher. Is she online?
Not yet. She hasn't joined the meeting
She
yet.
just texted me that she was waiting to be let in, so.
Haven't got the notice on that one.
Yeah, give her a shot. So hopefully we'll have full attendance, and at this time, we'd entertain a motion for approval of the minutes from the March 20th meeting. Had a chance to review them.
Make a motion for approval.
Hello, second. Mr. Sullivan, second. All those in favor of approval of the minutes, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And any old business to come before the board at this time? There being none, we'll move on to new business, and I'll turn it over to our Chief Executive, Mr. McGinnis.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. We're going to go ahead and jump right into the business today. I'll start out with financial services. Turn it over to Teresa.
Okay, my first item is to ask the board to act on a resolution approving the project-based low-rent public housing operating budget for the fiscal year ending March 31st, 2024. This is board resolution number 2023-07. We did have a preliminary meeting where I went through the explanation of how we are funded, and I enjoyed it. I think it was informative and provided explanation of basically our operating subsidy and the CFP funding, where we're allowed to draw down 25% of those funds for operating costs. The previous budget showed us having a net loss upon discussion and working through the numbers and explaining the budget. This budget resolution has a what you call a zero balance budget, but it has no net increase or decrease in the unrestricted net position. I just want to say, with the funds that we are allowed to draw out of capital fund, those will be drawn as needed and are available for us to use. So if there's any particular line item, even though I provided 22 explanations, but if you have any particular one you would like for me to address, I can, or we can just, if you're comfortable or you understand, then we'll just move forward asking you to pass this budget. So.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. We look at number 7 and 8 on your remarks as they match up with the budget.
Number who, sir? I'm sorry.
7 and 8 on your comments and.
Service fee revenue and capital fund?
Right. Management fee. It looked like the 125,203 with the management fee.
Okay, so the management, oh, you saying I flipped them?
I think so.
Oh.
And I didn't know whether that
Okay,
was
you're
correct.
right.
on the-
I'm wrong, yes.
Yeah, but they write on the budget, but they're just in your
Flip.
remarks. That's
Yes,
what I
sir.
thought. Okay.
Thank you. I need to send my package to you before.
That's why I was just looking it over this morning,
Yes, sir.
since I missed the preliminary meeting.
You're right.
And then, any comments or questions from, I guess, everybody else was able to attend the preliminary meeting. Did you have any additional?
I don't have any additional questions. I like the additional column and the explanation, and I'm comfortable.
Okay, good. I have one question with the other, on number 10, we had the other income from Bryant Bank and Twickenham, and it
Yes, sir.
said a prior year settlement. What was
Yes, the
that?
operating subsidy that we had back, I don't know, 2017, 2018, that HUD had recaptured, and we entered a lawsuit with other housing agencies to
Right.
get our funding back. And finally, in 2020, 2022, 2023, we got our settlement. So So that's what that is. So, of course, I would like for that to happen again in 2024, but we don't have anything outstanding that we can move forward for. But those incomes that I listed are definitely ones that we have in place that we will receive. And then also I wanted to say that each of the developments, that's the reason why your package is so large. When we present this, we have to provide a budget for every development along with the COCC and DAF. So those are attached to.
Yeah, that's a lot of information for sure.
So yes, sir. So Board Resolution 2023-07, and then the resolution is provided with the HUD Form 52574 that requires your signature, sir, once you all vote on it and approve.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? If none, we'll entertain a motion for approval of the resolution for approving the project-based low-rent public housing operating budget for fiscal year ending March 31, 2024. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Mr. Willie? Second. Mr. Sullivan, second. All those in favor of the resolution, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None. Have you got her on the
Not yet.
connected yet?
Might
Okay,
have to send her another invitation, I think.
thank you. I think it's still your report.
Still, okay. So the second item I have, a presentation of cumulative low-income housing finance report for the period ending February 28, 2023. So with the operating grant, we won't have to draw those funds for the elevator in this fiscal, in 2023 fiscal year, because we didn't receive an invoice. So that's the reason why that number is unfavorable in comparison to what we would have drawn if we needed it. Investment income has been higher for us this quarter. We're earning more interest on our funds at this time. Also, moving forward to total administration, auditing fee is final, so that number that you see, the actual cost incurred year to date is $29,295. So we finalized that, and it's now audit season again that we are entering to begin again for 3/31. Also, moving forward to total tenant services, the budget, this line item, I would just say that it's offset. The salaries are a little bit higher, the benefits, salary is lower, benefits are higher, but when it comes to overall, the unfavorable amount is less than 2%. So I believe the operating budget for 2024 is spot on. That's what I say about that. Moving forward to the next page of contract costs. So the 2023 budget was based off of the numbers we had incurred in a previous year. And so when I went back to look at it, because Dr. Lowe kept asking me, and I said, I need to go back and look at my budget number again. And so that number included some ceiling repairs that we had completed in the previous year for $119,000. And we don't have that expense coming forward in 3/31/2023. So that line item will definitely finish under budget for this year. Also with collection loss, right now, it shows that it's a favorable, that we're under budget. But when we completed 3/31, I believe we're at $191,000 in our write-off. But we are still finalizing numbers. Even though we end March 31st, this is our fiscal year end, and it usually takes us about 60 days to wrap up expenses. And with that being said, we have a responsibility to submit the FDS, which is our financial data schedule, which is May 30th. That's when that will be submitted. And so therefore, that's where we finish. Now, collection loss, what happened here is that I had budgeted for 3 of these to be settled, but we had 4. So that's the reason why this one is over. I was gonna put it in the 2024 budget, but actual cost came in 2023. So this is the reason why this line item is over budget at this time. So overall, we are looking at an increase in that position of $1,015,516 in compared to a budgeted increase of $192,792.51. So, and when you get financials next month, For 331, those will be preliminary, and we're really not final until our auditors come and present to you the final actual that we will complete for 331 is what I'm saying. They come and do a presentation, so.
Right.
And that's all I have for today.
Any questions about any of that info? Thank you very much for the report, and thanks for all the work of your staff and preparing the budget, all that goes with it. All right, we'll move on from that, from financial services to your development report.
We need to vote on. Is there a second motion that we need to vote on, or is it just one?
No, it's just a
Yeah, it's
presentation.
presentation. Very
Yes,
good.
sir, that's not a resolution.
Got it.
That's why I'm jiggling through
Got it.
here, even though I'm sure.
All right. Thank you, Teresa. Appreciate it. Mike?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Development has one request for board action. It's Resolution 2023-08. It's to act on a resolution authorizing the Executive Director, Contracting Officer to enter into a contract with Crimson Contractors to install new roofs on 78 buildings in Lincoln Park. The purpose of this action is to remove the current shingles and penetration boots over the 78 buildings and replace any rotted deck and install new shingles. Justification is HHA has exercised due diligence in its procurement process to arrive at the most cost-effective price by obtaining bids from qualified contractors under IFB number 2022-17, and that bid tab is attached for your informational purposes. The economic impact is, the price for the contract will be $718,000 plus any extra for unforeseen rotted decking or fascia or anything like that that we can't see. The funding will come from the HHA's capital fund in the amount of $718,000. We have budgeted in our capital fund $1.5 million plus to cover the cost of the project. And we hope we have plenty of that left over, hopefully, to do another site, maybe Butler Terrace or something. So. Alternatives are none at this time, and you do have the attachment there of the bid tab. Does anybody have any questions?
You did mention that if they do pull the roof off and there is rotten fascia and that type, is there any budget to go toward that, or is that all in addition? Would that be
We have some allowances, built in, but they could exceed those allowances. The allowance is just a guess.
Sure.
So if it exceeds that allowance, then we will do a change order to pay for that extra cost. They have to document that pictorially, and it has to be approved before they can submit for payment on anything like that. So
it is part of the bid process? Did they inspect that to work into their bids? I mean, did they get up in the rafters and kind of look around and have an initial
they walked
assessment of it?
around, measured, looked at the roofs. I did not observe any of them get on the roof.
Okay.
You would have to actually tear off some shingles before you notice. You might notice a soft spot or something.
We
I
got
hadn't
quite
seen
a-
them walk the roofs.
We got $1.5 million program for this, and you're at less than half that. But I know how costly it can get too if you start getting into some structural stuff.
Yeah, there'll be some fascia. We can observe and see some of the fascia rot. It's the roof decking that you really can't see.
How old are the roofs over there?
18 to 20 years, right around 20 years. And Crimson they've done a lot of roofing for us over the years.
Very competitive.
Used to be Crimson Eagle, and it was an Alabama and an Auburn guy. They had a falling out and the eagle left. So now
War
we're just-
time. I would never guess, that's a nice trivia to know that, Mike, thank you. I thought about that when I saw Crimson. Any other questions about this item or comment? I think looks like we got a very competitive bid there, and if you're comfortable with, the quality of work and them being able to deliver. Is this, do they get a bond? Is there a performance bond on some of this amount? Yeah, good. All right, it's a good sign that they're financially equipped to do the work. So, is there a motion for approval?
Motion for approval.
Mr. Lowe,
Second.
second, Mr. Willie. All those in favor of approval, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, new roofs for Lincoln. I believe that pretty much concludes the reports from the different departments. Do you have anything else there, or are you ready to move on to your report?
Yeah, I'm ready to move on. At this time, I'm going to ask Lindsay to stand and talk about a program that I think has really been moving the needle as it relates to our strategic plan. Priority number one, promoting and achieving a stronger commitment to self-sufficiency. Just briefly talk about the partnership that she's been able to create through workforce development and some of the work of the hub. So, give me 3 minutes. I got my timer on, so turn it over.
3 minutes, huh? Okay. Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you. As of February, we entered into a contract with Mobius Consulting. And Mobius basically is an aerospace and engineering company, but they also have a subsidiary, which is a consulting business, which provides supplemental income for our residents. So it's kind of like a paid internship for our residents. And so at this time, we have vetted about 7 different individuals, whether they be housing choice voucher participants, Section 3 participants, youth build, and so we have about 7 individuals. What I would like to introduce at this time, and I know they're not going to say anything, but they're going to introduce them. So these are 2 of our interns. Closest to me is Ebony Gaddis and Elizabeth Evans, and this is Elizabeth's first day. So what I've told them is I'm taking you with me everywhere I go to expose you to all the different meetings, all the different networks that we have in the community. They both are business owners, resident-owned business. They have their own businesses, and so they're coming to us as interns, but they have their own thing going on as well. So with Mobius, what they do is they pay our residents $9 an hour. They can work up to 40 to 48 hours, which ends up being about $432, and that moves the economic needle for our residents. They can work long-term, but it is a part-time position, and then they can also double dip with Zapata Systems and software analysis. So that's another HubZone company that has a grant as well that pays about $8 an hour, and they can work up to 40 hours with them. So they can double dip with both of those and do the same work and then make almost $1,000 a month extra, of which they have to report to their property managers. So we're really excited about that because like Mr. McGinnis said, it is moving the economic needle for our residents. We have a lot of different things that are going on with workforce development and Section 3. We just completed a economic development project in which Quentin was part of, Reggie Robinson was part of, Jacqueline Dean, she's our youth build director, and myself, and we facilitated meetings here for 3 days to prep our residents for a hiring event that took place with Huntsville-Madison Chamber of Commerce at First Baptist Church. So we don't have the numbers in yet as far as how many of our people were hired, but we're working in the community very hard to make these connections with the Catalyst, with Huntsville Chamber of Commerce, with Huntsville Hospital. They have a new workforce development manager there, Dr. Myron Parks, and they want to make sure that our residents are included in the demographics of people that are being hired in Huntsville. So the last thing that I wanted to talk about really quick, I know 3 minutes. We just just had a gardening class, which falls into our economic development category. And as you can see over here in back of you, there's like a little, there's a little gardening area right here. It's not gonna stay here, but that was one of our props, and that is square foot gardening that was taught to our residents. We had about 39 participants for that. It was a 2-day event that they got certified in basic gardening. And so 16 of those 39 were our residents, and they were really excited about that. So that's something that we want to pursue. That's something that our residents were very excited about, because they learned about not only they can garden in small containers like this and use this as a little, just doing the base, and then it adds the moisture here if you just put the top on it, around their houses and inside their houses, and they can really offset the prices of different things that are going on right now. As we all know, 18 eggs is about $10, right? So we can't own chickens here, but we can definitely add the greenery to our residents' diet, and that helps with the food deserts that we have here in Huntsville for our residents. So thank you so much. That's the end of my presentation. If there are any questions for me.
Not for you per se, I just want to know what the business is. What do they do?
Okay, what is your business, Ebony?
Well, my business is called Sweet Kitty by Ebony. I make homemade natural lip balm.
And Miss Elizabeth?
Hello. Yes, my name is Elizabeth. My first language is Spanish. I'm coming from Cali, Colombia. English is my second language. Actually, my business is about nail tech, massage, professional massage, and actually I went to school to be esthetician.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else have any questions for Nancy or anybody? Well, we appreciate you doing that. Again, one of the things that we talked about in our strategic plan was to promote and achieve a stronger commitment to self-sufficiency, and no greater way to do that than helping our residents become employed. I also want to go over some numbers with you all, just kind of a demographic report. Right now, we're at about 98.5%. At our last number, we were at 98.5% occupancy. And that means we have 1,360 units leased with 473 families on the waiting list to get into public housing. That just kind of talks about the need that we have in this city. In our Section 8 department, we have 1,795 units leased right now, with 116 families with a voucher in their hand looking for a unit. Our team has really been doing a great job of connecting with different landlords, bringing in new landlords. About a year and a half ago, we brought in 110 emergency housing vouchers. I think we're right at 95, 96, I want to say, that we've actually committed to housing, which is tremendous, because what it does is allows us to partner with our COC, Continuum Care Organizations, and it allows those organizations to actually partner with us to speak about affordable housing and the need in the community. As you all were able to participate in the meeting on last week, man, I'm excited about Choice Neighborhoods, because I really believe that it could transform this community even greater and provide housing for our residents that we can't even imagine right now. And so I'm excited about that. We've connected with over 20 agencies last month that really help us move our strategic plan forward. Organizations like Drake and the Bullpen Foundation, Habitat for Humanity, each one of them have played a major role in helping us move the needle a little bit. But I also just want to thank our staff and our board for what you all choose to do. You don't have to be here, you don't have to do what you do, but to really make an impact on this community, man, it's valuable. And I just want to thank everybody for what you do. We also are in the process of moving and transferring our residents in L.R. Patton. After the board meeting, if you have time, we have a unit available, Unit 295A. We'll have Mike there to answer any questions. And I'm sure you all will be excited and pleased to see the work that has gone into those units. At the beginning of the year, you all saw how they look, and to walk into those units as they look now, you'll be very pleased to see the work that has gone into them. I wish we can do every unit like that. I wish we could do every development like that. But at this time, all we can do is our patent and to keep moving forward. So that's all I have.
Can you go back over the Section 8 numbers again?
We have 1,795 houses leased, and we have 116 families that are searching, actually have a voucher.
Have a voucher and searching, and then there's a waiting list on top of that?
For Section 8, I'm not sure what the waiting list is. Does anybody in Section 8 know exactly what their waiting is right now?
Or just ballpark?
Yeah, we have about 300 some odd people left on the waiting list, and that will exhaust that 2020 waiting list. So after we pull everyone from that list, it'll be time for us to open up a new waiting list.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah.
That's to get a voucher. I thought your first numbers were actually public housing. What's the numbers for public housing?
Waiting list for public housing,
Yes.
we have 473 families on the waiting list. Last report we got.
That's a lot of folks.
I remember that voucher number being 300, so I'm talking about that was still waiting. Still, whoever's working that, you're doing a job. That's a heck of a, I had to field calls. Some of y'all here when I said some stuff that offended other employees because of the numbers, but that's amazing.
All right, thank you. Do we have anybody signed up for public comments? Nobody? Oh, we might hear from Mr. Easton today.
What'd you say?
I was joking. That's okay. Just here. See what's going on. Glad you're here. Thank you, Dennis.
Glad to be here.
Commissioner comments. Do you have anything, Commissioner Sullivan?
Other than for those that don't know, we had the Choice Neighborhood Initiative session/education last week, and the level of excitement, I think if you actually got to see it firsthand amongst board members, I still tell everybody I see how excited Mr. Lowe was when they came out. But there's a reason for that. So that we need that type of energy. You all need to know that you have advocates. So I think we're going to be in good hands.
Thank you.
Yeah, it was very overwhelming experience because it's a lot of excitement to see the growth that we're going to potentially have. And the resident council went out of town, and I saw on Ms. D's page they won first place in something. So congratulations to the resident council. They went there and won first place, Huntsville Housing Authority. Ms. D from Northwoods, from Facebook, so whatever it
To a
is.
conference this week.
Yes.
Find out about that. You look forward to it. Anything, Commissioner Lowe?
No, just at CNI, it's a lot of big chess pieces that are going to be moving, and we just need to collectively put our heads together to make the most informed decision that we can as a board. So I'm looking forward to diving into that problem.
Yeah, I agree, and I think maybe a session where we can sit down and talk, especially while this is kind of fresh on everybody's mind, having a presentation would be good.
Yeah, speaking, I guess I need to add, I spoke with someone who was working to try to get us an individual to speak with in Tulsa and Knoxville the other day. So hopefully both of those folks, I guess, have new CNI implementations in place now, and both of them said they'll work to see if they can get someone to. So hopefully we can get a Zoom call. They can just tell us about what it looks like in their city.
Be good. So let's put our heads together. We'll see if we can come up with a date, maybe kind of preliminary to the next scheduled board meetings. All right. Anybody got anything else? Any more questions or comments or discussion? If not, we'll stand adjourned.
All right.